Jackson there.
Right. Well, with that, let's jump into our first topic of the night. We thought it'd be fun to kind of discuss over and unders for the Gopher football team this year. We got a lot of fun topics here, and we'd like for you to join us in on the fun. Leave comments below and tell us what you think some of the overs and unders of what we're about to shout out here are going to be. Let's start with the top. Max Brosmer, passing yards. We had the line at 2,550 yards this season, 12 and a half or 212 and a half per game. Kurt, let's start with you. What are you thinking? Is Brosmer going to have 2,550 passing yards this season? Is he going to have 212 and a half yards per game this year?
Yeah, so that's what it would average out to if he were to hit that mark. So a couple thoughts go into this for me. Number one, how much is Peter going to let them throw the ball, right? I actually trust Brosmer coming in and meshing with the receivers. I just don't know if PJ is going to actually let us air it out how Gopher fans were anticipating last year. And then again, we've kind of been hearing the hype train about how we're going to throw it more. I'm kind of in the camp of I got to see it to believe it. So that's the first thought when thinking about the total. And the second one I kind of alluded to at the start when talking about the Daniel Jackson injury. I feel really good about Brosmer's ability. I'm a little bit less confident in the receivers. I think they're going to be improved this year. Again, though, we've been saying that probably 3 years in a row. Corey Crooms was supposed to be a big addition last year, and we couldn't find a way to utilize him. So, again, those two factors are kind of what's sticking out to me here. I think he's going to be a much better passer than Ethan. I just think that, averaging 180 to 195 a game is going to show us a significant better offense anyway. And I think that we're going to be running the ball a lot when we're up on these two smaller teams after North Carolina. I don't see us throwing the ball around there. I'm sure we'll just run the ball to get out of there with a dub. So for that reason, I am going to take the under on that 2,500 number for Max Brosmer's passing yards.
Yeah, I'm probably in the same camp. I think I'm under, but I think it's going to be close. Kind of the same reasons you said. I just feel like I don't see. I mean, there's a few games where it's, we might have to throw the ball quite a bit, or even if we're behind, that we're just going to be throwing the whole time. But at the same time, yeah, like PJ, we just haven't seen it really yet, where we just let the quarterback, let it loose. Other than like the 2019 Tanner Morgan year, where he did put up 3,000 yards, but like you said, we had a much deeper receiver room back then. So unless some guys step up in that wide receiver room, not saying they can't, but I think it's close, but I also will go with the under.
I do think it's close, but after some research, I think that it's definitely possible. Ethan did have over 1,800 passing yards per game or during the season last year, and it felt like it was a really terrible passing season last year. I do think that Brosmer is a step above Ethan. I do think that we'll attempt to throw the ball a little more, and all he really needs to do is get about 700 more passing yards than Ethan did. Easier said than done, but nevertheless, I do think that he does it. I think that his experience matters as well. He threw for over almost 3,500 yards last year, and so with that experience and I think with our ability to hopefully pass the ball with good weapons, I think that's around him. I think that he'll hit the over this year.
You know what would have been a good one to add with this is over under 300-yard passing games for him, because there's only a couple games in there where I feel like that could happen. And this is obviously preseason, so I would lean USC. I'm guessing we're going to be able to need to score points against them, so I'd put that one up there. If you want to throw North Carolina, maybe, that's a high-powered offense that you're going up against there too. So you might need the points there. I still think we'll be running the ball on them just because, that's a good point. But those two are the only ones that stand out where it's we could potentially throw for a lot of yards against those two defenses that struggled a lot last year. So, because you look at Michigan, we're going to need to be able to throw the ball to beat even have a chance again to beat Michigan, but I don't think we'll throw for 300 yards on Michigan. Same with Penn State. And even Iowa and Wisconsin will be tough to do that to those defenses. So, but anyway, it's just when I think about it like that, and then thinking about the season total, those are just the thoughts. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope you're right, Shitty.
Yeah. Sticking with Brosmer, what about passing TDs? Over under 20.5 passing touchdowns. Max, let's start with you. What do you think?
Yeah, for this one, I think I will lean the over. Even though I took the under in yards, I think they're going to let Brosmer take a few more shots this year. We didn't really have many explosive, like long touchdowns last season. We didn't have any touchdowns at all last season. Actually, looking at all the numbers.
Yeah.
So I feel like last year we did a good job getting into the red zone, but we still couldn't always capitalize. So I'm hoping that our staff looks at that and says, obviously the goal is to get close and punch it in, but even then you're not guaranteed. So why not take a couple extra shots, especially if we have a more talented quarterback? So for that, I'm going to take the over in passing touchdowns. I think we get over 20.
I'm right there with you. One of the biggest things we've heard about is how much Max Brosmer likes to check it down to the running backs. I think that can help you out a lot, especially in the red zone. And I think we'll be looking to throw a lot more once we're in goal line situations, just because teams know, we're going to want to run the football so much. Last year we weren't really able to take advantage of that too much, but like I said, I think Brosmer is a better passer than last year's quarterback room. So I'm with you. I'm also taking the over 20 touchdown passes.
I agree. I guess if I'm going with the over in passing yards, I'd like to think that he's going to be able to hit that 20.5 mark. Again, he's an experienced quarterback. Had 29 last year. So yeah, I believe in Brosmer. I believe when PJ says we have to throw the ball this year to be effective. I do think that we'll give it more shots. It doesn't mean that we're not going to run the ball a ton, but
Right.
I do think it'll be a little better than last year.